coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Lee Sanders here for your WWE Payback pay-per-view post-show this Saturday night of September 2nd, 2023. I appreciate you guys that are trickling on in. I know there are a gazillion pay-per-view post-shows podcasts that are probably on right now, still reacting to the news that had went down with CM Punk being fired from AEW earlier today, as an official statement was put out. For those of you that just happen to be trickling on in from my AEW Collision live coverage over on the main 401 Mania website, I appreciate you guys. I have not even had a chance to proofread what all I had put over there. I tried to do the very best that I could over there, but I know usually there's a couple of things I miss here and there. I'm going to get right to editing that as soon as I'm done with the pay-per-view post show. But tonight, man, what a busy day it has been for yours truly. I'm surprised I was actually able to get in a bite to eat, because I get off work, I'm literally on the road, as I find out from my amigos in the Discord that, hey, CM Punk has been let go. I'm like, wait, what? And of course, it's been a good minute since we did a breaking news piece, and I immediately, as soon as I got home from work, I rested up a little bit, just a little tiny bit. That was pretty much enough to have something to drink, and I fired up the webcam to give you guys my thoughts about CM Punk being let go from WWE. Well, he was let go from WWE at one point, but no, this go around being let go by AEW. So you guys got to forgive me if I don't really talk at great length about it here on the show. If there's something particular you want to pick my brain on in regards to CM Punk, and you had watched what I had did earlier, just dedicated to that whole topic, you're more than welcome to post your questions or your comments in regards to his firing here, and I'll definitely read them throughout the show here. But for the most part, we're just going to stick to the talk of WWE Payback. It was a really good show. Now, I will tell you this. I am aware of what had went down with Tony Khan and the pre-produced backstage promo, if you will, or segment that kicked off tonight's Collision, where he talked about the firing of CM Punk. And then we just so happened to see, I don't know if this was what he did first before the pre-tape, or if he did the pre-taped first but then tried to go out in front of the crowd. But there's this footage of him in front of the Chicago crowd getting booed out of the arena as he's trying to explain to the fans what happened and justify it. It was easy to tell that he was being rattled, that he was being annoyed, and he was getting upset, and the whole 9 yards. Now, if you want me to talk more about that here on this payback pay-per-view post show, let me know. I'll dive into that as well. again, we're going to stick to the talk of WWE Payback. What a week. What a weekend. And just think, we got one more pay-per-view that is right around the corner. That is going to be interesting. I tell you what, that AEW All Out, because from what I have been hearing from those in the Chicago area that have been able to officially confirm it, tickets have been dropping left and right. What was starting to kind of come off as if these tickets were hard to get, now they're popping up more and more and more on the market, and the tickets are going for dirt cheap. How cheap? I'm hearing tickets as low as $7, $8, $9, $10 is what the tickets are going for. So this is just one of those deals where you know, it almost reminds me of what had went down a couple of years ago, when this was about maybe 5 to 7 years ago, where I was trying to go to an Impact Wrestling event that was going to be held up in New York City. And I had got the tickets. I got them for a pretty good price. I had got 2 tickets. I would say they were probably $30 or $40 a piece. Long story short, something went down. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make it, and I tried to sell the tickets on eBay. And I had mofos trying to offer me just $1 for the tickets. And I ended up nobody made me a reasonable offer. It would have been one thing if somebody just said, hey, look, I'll give you $20 per ticket. But I kept getting these, and on eBay, back then, you could easily make a setting so that if somebody tried to come at you with a very low bid, they would just automatically be declined. And then after 3 strikeouts, that's pretty much it. They can't do it anymore. I actually had people, once they got struck out 3 times, they tried to message me and, man, you need to stop faking. You know you ain't gonna be able to sell them tickets, so you might as well just give it to me for the price I'm willing to pay, which is $2. And it was the craziest, wildest crap. So I can only imagine how low those all-out tickets are going to be going from now to. And as you would imagine, there are a lot of upset fans in the Chicago area. You would have thought that Tony Khan and crew would have just let CM Punk's status for All Out continue to be in the air and just let it be one of those till the very, very, very last minute, even have people guessing as the pay-per-view was underway and everything. But no, they just decided they wanted to go ahead and get this out the way, and now the backlash is going down, and I don't mean WWE. WWE Payback kicking off things. Becky Lynch defeating Trish Stratus in a steel cage match. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I was looking at this whole card, and sadly, we didn't get a chance to go over predictions. I know that we at a glance we talked about the card, but we really didn't go over the card at great length. I was looking at this particular card though, and I'm saying to myself, what could potentially the order be here? And part of me was thinking, well, it's possible that Becky Lynch and Trish, they could close it out, and I felt even more confident in that after what I had saw of Becky Lynch from this past Monday's Raw. That was a great match that she had with Zoe Starks, was it not? I mean, really, that was a fantastic match. So I'm looking at that and I'm going, well, I don't know. It seems like Becky built up some really great momentum from Monday's Raw. Maybe, just maybe, this is what will close it out. And if it doesn't close out, Rollins, Nakamura, for sure. So to see that Becky and Trish open things up with the steel cage, that was, because I honestly, I don't know about you all, but I was expecting that to go down a little bit of the 6 matches. I was expecting it to happen a little bit later on in the card. But hey, the fact that it opened up with this match, you know what? I'm here for it. I'm pulling up a seat. I am enjoying. I got to tell you guys too, while Payback was on, your man was multitasking. Don't ask me how I was able to pull this off. I hope I don't have to do this again for a very long time. But as I'm covering or slash providing live AEW Collision coverage on the website, I'm watching this WWE pay-per-view as well. Yeah, I'm just good like that when it comes to multitasking. Family and friends, they know not to mess with me when I'm in that kind of a zone. They know better. So, look, this match, I thought, again, based off what Becky Lynch had did from Monday Night Raw, that momentum had continued here in this match. For me, the girls, they finally clicked here. And we know that for the past several weeks, Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch, it just was not working. It's one of those things where you either have that synergy, that chemistry, you either have it or you don't. And it just felt like all the exchanges that we've seen with these girls, nothing was really clicking here. But it seems as though when we finally got to this point with this steel cage match, it seems as though finally, we had got all the right ingredients to deliver a classic matchup. This was one hell of a fight. This was one hell of a all-out brawl between both of these girls, all these girls, because I know Zoe got involved as well. I'm very proud of all three of these girls and the extra effort, enthusiasm that they put into this when assuming that now the feud is essentially over, and that seemed to have been confirmed once Becky Lynch was caught up with backstage, which we'll talk a little bit more about in just a hot second and everything. But, you know, this had a big fight feel to it, and you gotta appreciate the fact that all the powers that be in WWE, I know that there were a lot of us, myself included, that were very, very sour over this Trish Stratus Becky Lynch feud. But the one thing that we definitely need to give WWE a lot of credit for is the fact that they have been trying the past couple of years now to really make the investment in long-term storytelling, long-time feuds, and to build up these girls to get to this moment where everything culminated in this steel cage match and everything. The worst case scenario that could have came from out of this match is, well, it's another raspberry. The girls delivered another one, but hey, you know what? They tried. At least the feud is over. I went into this with such low expectations, but with a glimmer of hope after seeing Becky's performance on Raw. And I came out of this nodding my head going, you know what? The girls did it right. They finally rose to the occasion right here. They did it right. Becky looked to be in rare form here on this pay-per-view night. She looked to be back to that man status and everything. I love how she was built up as far as overcoming the odds here. Yet again, she looked as though she was back on top of her game, before things had fizzled out with her so quickly and everything. I could have done just a tiny little bit without the Zoe Stark interference. But if you're going to wrap this up properly, especially if Trish Stratus is done with the WWE for now, or no, that's just it. She's done. She's going to go enjoy being a mom, a wife, and get back to her non-wrestling related projects. Then Becky, Trish, Zoe, then they did this right. I personally felt. But if you were to look for some type of negative Nelly in regards to this fight, you could maybe make a bit of an argument that there was too much Zoe Stark interference. But you know what? For the calling card that they've been doing these past several weeks, when all of these women have been intertwined with one another, it's kind of expected, right? So it's kind of one of those, you can automatically give it a free pass and everything. So Becky Lynch picking up the victory with a manhandle slam, not just to Stark, but did a super manhandle slam to Trish to pick up the victory at the 20-minute mark. Post-match, we saw Zoe trying to help Trish Stratus up to her feet. Trish shoving Zoe, pretty pissed off that Zoe didn't come through in the clutch moment there in the fourth quarter when she really needed her the most. Zoe trying to let those feelings, she understands, she knows how hot-headed Trish is right now. She's trying to let it pass and everything, but Trish, being a little honey nut badger, just going off at the mouth and everything, just really giving Zoe a tongue lashing here. And this pretty much had forced Zoe to close the steel cage door, as Trish is kind of looking on like, what we getting ready to do here? And she actually welcomed him as she told and encouraged Zoe to bring it on. Zoe hits the Z360 that pretty much laid out Trish Stratus, and that pretty much is it. So you would assume that after tonight, that's pretty much it, that it's the last time that we'll be seeing Trish Stratus. You know, I wish we really could have put a proper ribbon on this whole thing. And I say that from this standpoint. I really wish Lita would have been able to make some type of a return, because I have been saying this off and on the past couple of months. I've toyed with the idea of Lita coming back, because remember now, it was revealed that Trish Stratus was the one that did the cheap attack on Lita backstage, and she did that in hopes that she would be able to slide into that position. Who was it there with Becky for those tag titles, and we saw how that all played out and everything. It would have been just bittersweet, sweet poetic justice if Lita would have came in there and just been that extra little bit of icing on the cake to, hey, Trish, remember me? I know you forgot about me, but I didn't forget about you. I got a receipt for you, sister. I owe you one. Would have been nice had that gone down, but for all intents and purposes, look, for some of you guys, that might have been a little bit of overkill. For some of you that may personally, without a doubt, feel that the Zoe Stark interference was a little bit too much, y'all probably would have really gone that route if Lita would have made an appearance. So, for all intents and purposes, great match. Again, really proud of what all these girls had did in this one. Tip my hat off to them. Some really good stuff. Next up, we get this great video package of the upcoming Nakamura taking on Seth Rollins joint. Then we get John Cena, who comes out praising the hell out of the opening match. And he talks about how over the years he's done a lot of things, but he's never been a host, which is true. Cena did mess up and say something along the lines of he's never been a referee or whatever, and as Michael Cole and the gang had quickly pointed out, he was a referee before, because remember Wade Barrett, right? You know your WWE history most likely, so we don't need to go over that whole spiel, but we understood what Cena was trying to do here, how he was trying to hype it up and everything. And I gotta say, this is my first time officially now speaking on John Cena officially being back in the WWE. And this isn't a case where John Cena is going to be back for just a week or two. John Cena is back for the next 2 months. We've got John Cena through November. I don't know if it goes up until Thanksgiving, but he's definitely with the company through November. And it's interesting because if you've been checking out the YouTube channel as of late, you know, we've been putting up show excerpts. And that's not a cheap plug, by the way, but there's one particular segment I want you guys to home in on, and our longtime listeners or newer listeners that's been checking out the content will remember this. But there was a topic that I had brought up recently where I asked the question, hey, the Batistas, the John Cenas, the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons, could we see them make a return to the WWE now that we've got this ongoing strike and it just seems like it's not going to be letting up anytime soon as far as original shows, movies, like everything is being impacted. Little bit surprised that we're going to be getting a new BMF season 3 from Stars next season. What's that? I think first quarter of 2024 we're going to be getting it, because they're already doing the trailers and all that. Power Force with Tommy, that just premiered a couple of days ago, right? So you got some new shows that's floating around here and there, but if this strike doesn't get taken care of soon, man, it's really, really going to be bad as far as new TV shows, fall lineup, spring lineup, and movies go, right? So I tackled the question about, out of those names, Batista, Cena, and The Rock, who would potentially come back to the WWE. And if you guys recall, I said Batista, hands down, that is a flat out no. He has said that he is done, and there's some interviews where he said he would rather go flat broke before he ever comes back to the world of pro wrestling and everything. Like, he is done. That is it. He is DONE done. He ain't coming back for nothing. No amount of money in the world. Look, if this guy can walk away from Drax, which is definitely, I would imagine for him, an easy paycheck. If he's willing to walk away from what's comfortable, all in the name of perfecting his craft as an actor, homing and chopping up his acting skills even better, that tells you all you need to know. So, eliminated. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he's got his hands in so many projects, not just with his own production company, but the XFL. He's got his own tequila brand. I mean, the guy's just all over the place. No. John Cena was my long shot. But the question was the optics. For all of them, definitely the optics, but for Cena particularly, the optics, because he's still trying to chip away, and he's done very good with the roles that he's attached himself to so far and everything. But man, John Cena, the optics, but I felt out of the three, he would be the one that would come back on a short term. Not to mention, we have the history of John Cena, as soon as he is available, comes back to the WWE and everything. So I thought this was a great move that John Cena was able to work whatever out with the WWE, and now we see him back and everything. And he was hosting this go round. No match. I know some of us were looking at this going, is it possible he's maybe going to do a match? I know for some of you guys that had heard the CM Punk news, some of you all were like, hey, is it possible that CM Punk, assuming that there's no, what's the terminology? There's no non-compete clause in the contract. Hell, could we maybe see CM Punk pop up at Payback tonight? No, that did not happen. As I had alluded to when we did the CM Punk clip a couple hours ago, I said, yeah, it's highly unlikely, but let's see what happens. So we did not get that. So John Cena out there, giving the girls props for that opening match and everything. He talks about how great of a job it is to be the host, and he's very honored that he's there to host Payback, and he's looking forward to the next match, which is Miz taking on LA Knight, because he wants to be the special guest referee for that bad boy. Well, cue up the Miz, who isn't happy about hearing John Cena is going to be the special guest referee for his match, and he pretty much tells him, yo, as a host, you suck. Which has Cena go, well, old wise Jedi Master, won't you please tell me what I need to do to be a better host? I mean, you've done it all. You've been through it all yourself, Miz. Hook a brother up. Let a brother know what does he need to do to be the all-around great host. And Miz just uses this as an opportunity to roast the hell out of Cena, make fun of his C Nation colors, his attire, C Nation attire, make fun of Barbie Cena, I mean, he had some really great liners in there. Cena comes right back. Miz, you still got it. You know, hey, one thing that's always been consistent as far as my feelings for you, I still hate you. I don't like you. But no, look, seriously, I want to make this hosting gig be truly successful. Give me your ideas. Tell me what I really need to do right here. And Miz tells him straight up, well, you need to do what you can to take more initiative for starters. That's what you really need to do. You know, you need to take yourself a little bit more seriously and get more involved with the show. At which, to Cena's point, okay, so be a special guest referee for this match, at which Miz says no. Besides, you don't even have a referee shirt. Well, it just so happens Cena reaches into his back pocket, pulls out a jersey, referee jersey, and yeah, our match is on their way. Miz taking on LA Knight. Yeah, let me talk to you. Love this. Went just a little bit too long for my personal taste. I don't know about you guys, but it went on just a little bit too long for my personal taste. It was 15 minutes and some change. I felt maybe we could have trimmed this by about 4, possibly 5 minutes. I get the story that they were trying to tell right here, which is, look, for everything that Miz has accomplished in his respected career, this guy, he is no pushover. If LA Knight is trying to take himself to that next level in his WWE career, this is essentially a make or break moment, because if you essentially can't pull this off, then you might as well go back to the end of the line. Maybe you need to be looking at a different line of work. That pretty much was the message that was being sold right here. So I thought it was, despite it being, just a tad bit long-winded of a match, which it wasn't a bad match. I don't want people to think I'm crapping on it, because I'm not crapping on it. Was it an important milestone in the career of LA Knight, as far as his ascension and all that? I would say yes, it was definitely one of the more marquee matchups of his career since he's been part of the main roster so far and everything, because look, he gets the bragging rights of, hey, I beat a former world champion. I beat a former Grand Slam champion. So he does get all of those nice bragging rights and everything. So I will look at that from that standpoint. Decent effort from both guys, but this match did not feel, in all honesty, this match did not feel like a pay-per-view quality type of match. On the contrary, this match, it felt more like I'll throw it out there. It felt more like you were watching a main event for SmackDown. Or maybe you were watching a main event match for main event. Yeah, I was getting ready to say main event. Yeah, you guys remember that show. Felt like kind of one of those type of deals. So, it was okay and everything. I'd like the nod that they had Cena be sure to give to LA Knight after all was said and done. That was actually a nice rub right there. I personally felt for, without a doubt, future WWE Hall of Famer there, Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, and John Cena. I thought that was a nice touch that they had Cena officially endorse him and everything, even though you had LA Knight say to John Cena, and Cena was offering that handshake, LA Knight say to him, you almost cost me the match right there, man. I don't really know if I want to shake your hand there, but reluctantly he does and everything. And you just can't help but wonder, since we've got Cena back for the next couple of months, if maybe that might be something we see down the road, LA Knight and John Cena. Is that something you all would be down for seeing? I'm just picturing the back and forth on the microphones between those two guys, and I definitely feel in my heart of hearts they would deliver some memorable freaking promos. I mean, so far since LA Knight has been part of the roster, my eyes, if you all have caught him a lot more than me, let me know. But since I've been watching him, as far as his promos go, he's only flubbed up maybe twice. So one of them was definitely within the past 2 weeks, and the one before that I'm aware of that I had saw was maybe some months ago. I would say 3 to 4 months ago. But I think him and Cena would definitely deliver some pretty memorable, some pretty hilarious moments and everything. Who would you like to see John Cena lock up with for these next couple of weeks? Sound off, let me know. I'm most curious. By the way, if you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the like button, as it really helps supercharge the content and puts more eyeballs on the product, gets us out there to a more wider audience. Do that. Thank you kindly. Keep rocking, keep on rolling. U.S. title match, Rey Mysterio retaining successfully over Austin Theory. 9 minutes, 45 seconds. Found this one interesting because a lot of people were under the impression that Austin Theory was going to get this title back. And I beg to differ. I put a tweet out a couple of weeks back. Y'all may have seen it if you're following me on the X Twitter, as I like to call it. And that was when Rey Mysterio won the United States title. I automatically said, okay, so get ready for it. We're ultimately going to see Rey Mysterio, Dom Mysterio, those titles, it's going to be a winner take all. It's going to be that NXT North American Championship up against the U.S. title, winner takes all. And I think that's the direction we're ultimately going to be going in. To the point, I would not be that surprised if these guys were to collide maybe as early as Survivor Series, or just maybe these two lock it up at next year's WrestleMania. I don't know if me and you all out there are on the same brainwave, but let me know if that's been the vibes you've been picking up since you've seen what all has been transpiring with Dom, NXT, and now with Rey with the U.S. title, or if you've been going in a different direction. Sound off and let me know. But I did not think Rey was going to lose the title right here. You know, I did not feel it was ever in jeopardy or anything. This definitely felt like another SmackDown or a main event match that you were seeing here, but it was a tad bit better than what we saw from LA Knight and The Miz. Now, granted, we've seen Theory and Ray lock it up before, but this one felt better than what we've seen of them on the TV shows and everything. And for all the injuries that Rey Mysterio has sustained throughout his career, we know in regards to those knees alone, you know, he's been through a lot. But here we are in 2023, and the man can still freaking hang with the best of them. I just can't help but wonder, though, what exactly is the game plan? Is the game plan the direction that I suggested a few seconds ago, where it's going to be Rey and Dom? Or are we going to try to do something there with Santos Escobar? Because I still feel as though something is waiting in the wings there with Santos, and this whole babyface run that's been happening with Santos thus far, it's, for me personally, and I'm a big fan of Santos. I loved everything that he was doing down there in NXT and everything, but since he's been up on the main roster, it's been a big old wet fart. I hate to say that, but I've tried to enjoy the whole LWO thing, but that's not really, it just feels like, if anything, all of them collectively, they are just really being a backup band, right? It's almost like the Temptations movie, which I highly recommend you guys go out of your way and check out. It's the only Temptations movie that was ever produced and everything. It's a two-parter, but if you're lucky, there's times where you'll be able to see it just as one volume, but typically it's two installments, 90 plus minutes apiece. There's one part in the movie that I really, really love where David Ruffin, his head gets so filled with ego, not to mention a little bit of extra motivation because of drugs and everything, but his head gets so swollen that he sees himself as the star for the Temptations, and thus going forward it needs to be a case where, you know what, it's not just the Temptations anymore, it should be David Ruffin and the Temptations, right down to the point there was a gig that the Temptations had to show up for, and David Ruffin was holding out, and instead what happens, he has his buddy who he has acting like his manager named Slim come out and tell the band, David's not going to come out, not until you agree to these demands. And they're like, demands? What the hell are you talking about? And at first the band is like, no, F you, we're not doing that crap. What the hell are you talking about? Kick rocks, we're not doing that. But then you had I don't think it was Otis, I think it was actually Eddie Kendricks that basically was saying to Otis and the rest of them, yo, we need David. Let's just do this tonight. We'll worry about the rest of the dates afterwards. And so they caved in. For that night only, it was David Ruffin and the Temptations. And in this particular case, I didn't lose track. I'm just helping you guys connect the dots a little better. Seeing this whole LWO wannabe stable and everything, this just feels like Rey Mysterio, say it with me, and the LWO. Okay, so I'm just wondering, when are we officially going to, because there's just a backing band at this point, and I really want to see Santos Escobar get to those heights in his respective career that I know that he can get to, and it just feels like we're on the cusp of seeing the ultimate betrayal go down and everything. Hopefully we will see that. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but hopefully we'll see that. Becky Lynch is caught up to backstage when the beautiful and the lovely NXT Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. Love seeing Tiffany Stratton, man. I got to give a shout out to WWE Supercard, because when I came back to WWE Supercard for the first time in about a year or two, and I was trying to hurry up and get caught up to date with my deck and everything, I got so many Tiffany Stratton cards, like some of the best top tier Tiffany Stratton cards way before the new SummerSlam 23 tier had came out, and I was just cruising. I was cruising like a mofo. So shout out to WWE Supercard, because of course, there's a lot of RNG that's involved in that. So I had a nice rare case of some really, really good strong luck going there on my side and everything. But I have been enjoying seeing Tiffany Stratton just pop up here and there on a Raw or SmackDown, just scouting out the competition and everything, as we see Stratton interrupt Becky Lynch's talking segment, because Becky was asked, hey, what's next for you? Where do you go from here now that the Trish Stratus feud is now behind you and everything? And Tiffany Stratton says to Becky, hey, I forgot that, Becky, you were never the NXT Women's Champion or whatever. And Becky's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, don't you got a title defense you need to go focus on? And maybe afterwards, I don't know, maybe we can talk again soon or whatever. And Stratton's just looking on like, okay, bye. That pretty much was the end of that. I could have sworn Becky called her Barbie. Could have sworn she got in a Barbie reference in there. Tag team championship match. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens taking on the Judgment Day. Remember what Rhea Ripley had said to her Judgment Day staplemates, which was, look, if we don't go into this Payback pay-per-view and take care of our respected business, then maybe, just maybe, we don't need to be a stable anymore. Maybe we need to have a different conversation, is what she alluded to. Well, Judgment Day got the job done here tonight. Rhea Ripley definitely being a factor in this when it counted the most. We got new tag team champions there. Woo! Good God almighty. We got new champions in Damian Priest and Finn Balor. You looked at this pairing and you couldn't help but say to yourself, are we sure? Are we sure that they can truly coexist here? Or is things really going to implode right here? But Judgment Day was able to hold it together to become the new tag champions in the Pittsburgh Steel City Street Fight. 20 minutes, 45 seconds. Nice brawl. I gotta say, I enjoyed this. This was actually one of my favorite matches of the night, I would have to say. Final moments of this one, we saw Owens, who was able to stun Damian Priest. That sets up a nice transition into the Halua kick. JD McDonough gets in there, pulls Zayn out just right at the count of 3. No dice though. Match is obviously going to have to continue. This sets up JD to get a power bomb onto the announcer's table. From there, Rhea Ripley comes in there, spears the living hell out of Kevin Owens through the barricades. It was a insane sweet spot. I loved it. Back inside the ring, Balor delivering a shotgun John Woo drop kick to Zayn into the corner. Miss the coup de grace. Zayn superplexes him into the corner. Goes for the Halua kick. Dominic comes in there, making the save with the briefcase. Gives to Balor. Boom. Pin. Titles. That's all she wrote. Rest is history. Love the level of violence that went down in this one. You know, and just to have those added ingredients of Dom and Rhea Ripley. You know, this was the right amount of interference, especially since it gelled so well. It wasn't annoying interference versus what we were talking about earlier in regards to Zoe with the whole Trish and Becky and everything, you know. And at least the argument that you can make right here is that, yo, it essentially took 5 people to beat up Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Oh, what big man you are that you can beat up a person like that. It took 5 of you, right? It took 5. So, you know, not for nothing, but, you know, at least the way that Owens and Zayn were booked, I know there's a lot of Zayn and Owens fans out there, at least you can make an argument that they didn't look like chumps in losing the tag titles and everything. And this is kind of like a big deal because, after all, they did hold the tag titles for a good minute. Would it have been nice to see even more tag title defenses from them? Yeah, hands down, yes, it would have been nice to see even more tag title defenses, but I am okay for, I mean, look, honestly, you really think about this match and the participants involved. I mean, you'd be a fool to think that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were going to successfully be able to walk out. This is the way, you know, I'm fine with this. I'm totally fine with this. And on the flip side to this, you know, I hope that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I hope they don't end up in a feud with one another. Because I know over the course of the past several weeks, we've seen Kevin Owens have a little bit of anger issues and all that. So I hope that the last thing we get is KO and Sammy feuding with one another. Sure, for the NXT hardcore fan, revisionist history, that'd be nice and everything. You know, I would rather, for me personally, I would rather go in a different direction. I would rather see Sammy or Kevin feud with Tommaso Ciampa. I would rather see one of them begin feuding with Seth Rollins and or Nakamura, which we definitely need to talk about very, very shortly, as that was a pretty damn good matchup. But those are my thoughts in regards to that tag match. Again, new champions crowned. Grayson Waller presents the Grayson Waller Effect. By the way, Pittsburgh, you guys were a great crowd for this WWE Payback card. I love the energy that came from you guys. Played out very well on television. Looked like a pretty good jam-packed house, as about 14,000 folks were in attendance at the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I remember at one point, wifey walked in and she heard the venue and everything, and she said, "Oh, they're not that far from Hershey Park." And I said, "Oh yeah," because she has done a lot of traveling to PA for conventions and things of that nature, work conventions and all that. And I said, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Yeah, they're not that far from the Hershey Park joint." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right, nice. That's that's nice to know, because I think sometimes when she says certain things, that's her way of saying we should travel up there sometimes, right?" I'm down with that. I'm definitely down with that, especially if it means I'll have a good time. I'm definitely down with that. Grayson Waller Effect. His guest for this one was Cody Rhodes. No in-ring action for Cody Rhodes. Waller tried to take this as an opportunity to get himself and his respected segment over. I laughed and popped big time when Grayson Waller called Cody Rhodes kid. I love that big time. Cody comes right back and says, "Hey, look, let's talk about the stars of NXT, of SmackDown. More importantly, let's talk about the latter. Let's talk about SmackDown for a little bit. Seems like there's a lot of issues that's going on over there that needs to be solved." And at this point, Cody talks about how he wants to introduce the newest member of the Raw roster, Main Event, Jey Uso, which got a nice pop from the crowd and everything. Nice roaring ovation and everything, as Cody says something inaudible to Jey. I'll let you guys speculate on what that might have been, but Cody gives Jey the proper respect, rolls out as he's quietly looking on at Jey while he's making his way back up the ramp and everything. And we see Jey super kick the hell out of Grayson Waller, and that pretty much ends the segment. That was the whole moment right there. Look, smart move by WWE, but at the same time, it feels as though creatively this could have gone in many other fun directions. So look, on the one hand, this is great because you're keeping Jimmy and Jey separated, and you know what? If you want to keep them separated until next year's WrestleMania, you've definitely, by doing this move, you've bought yourself the respected time that you need. Okay? That's great. Especially given the current landscape of things, if you're not going to budge on Jey being the one to take the titles off of Roman Reigns, that Cody Rhodes is still that guy, which a lot of us have said since the night after WrestleMania, on the Raw after WrestleMania. A lot of us have said, including myself, main one at the top of the list, we were the very few, the rare, the proud, the only that were saying they're just taking the scenic route with Cody Rhodes. Enjoy the story. WrestleMania, Philly. Hey, John, yeah, we did it. That's going to be the great Phil moment right there, okay? But I don't know if I would have gone in this direction with Jey Uso. I think the way they should have done with this would have been to put out some BS stories, to have certain dirt sheet writers think that they're getting the scoop or whatever, and actually put out there, yeah, Jey Uso's WWE contract, it actually expired, and it looks as though he really has let his contract lapse with WWE, and he really is weighing his options. And it would have been nice to see a situation come about where maybe WWE could have picked up the phone and we've seen in the past WWE has worked out some type of a deal with, say, Impact Wrestling. It would have been nice had maybe we seen Jay pop up at Impact, or Jay pops up on a couple of independent wrestling promotions or whatever. Really freaking go in that direction, right? If they're gonna have Jay do a freaking podcast, right, go let him do Sam Roberts, right? That way, because you know Sam's pretty much part of the WWE payroll or whatever, right? Or they can kick him a little bit of money from time to time. Creativity wise, there's so many directions that they could have gone with this, but they chose not to. And what's the fun in not having some creative fun with a story arc like this if 2 weeks later you're just gonna blow the load and just go, well, here he is, he's back, we know you guys like him, we got him on this other show instead. We know you guys were used to seeing him with right Twix, but now he's over here with left Twix. Just not a fan with that. As PP says in the chat, no, his name is not PP. I'm just abbreviating because, I could say Pinstripe just to make it sound a little better. As Pinstripe is saying in the chat, they're fumbling the ball on this bloodline stuff as of recent with the Usos. Feel like something they had come up with at 0 hour to pad the storyline while Roman rests up for his next matchup. Very well possible. Very well possible. Oh, it's DJ! DJ! What up, dude? It's DJ. I gotta give a shout out to DJ. I never knew that. So that was you a couple of weeks ago then, right? Because I think I knew that handle looked familiar because you had popped up before. DJ, for you guys that don't know, DJ's been hooking up the show excerpts on the YouTube channel as of late. It's been doing a pretty good job at it as well, and I'm not just saying that. I'm really happy. I can't tell you enough how I appreciate your work, DJ. It really means a lot. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I definitely agree, though. I think at this point, yeah, they are fumbling with the bloodline stuff. I'm definitely in agreement with you. I mean, it seems like they don't want to challenge themselves anymore, right? Because you can almost make an argument that everything that has been happening with the bloodline story arc has been money up until they got to that last pay-per-view joint. I'm trying to think what was the one where it was tribal rules between Roman and Jay. Whatever pay-per-view that was. I know it was the previous pay-per-view. So whatever name that was. Don't tell me the name. As long as y'all know what I'm talking about, that's the important thing. That's where they hit their first, that wasn't a home run. And it just seems like they've been kind of scrambling ever since. And now we get this. Now look, on the other side, if you're looking at it from a monetization / monopoly standpoint, you can definitely go, hey, this is great. Because, and you know WWE's philosophy, man, this is hot. Oh, this is so hot. Yo, we got to break this up because we can make even more money off of this. We got to split this up. So I get what they're, and look, I'm for it. If this was a case where it's the Jay and Jimmy Uso of, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I'd be like, forget about it. No, they're not even, no. But with where they are now, I'm totally down. Especially for Jay Uso, I am totally down. Now, what was lost in translation, folks were wondering, hey, what does this mean for Cody Rhodes? I even asked the question in the chat. I said, what does this mean for Cody Rhodes? Is Cody now going to go to SmackDown? And I got a yes, but then everybody was saying, no. Hold up, Lee. Hold up. Cody ain't say nothing about he's going to SmackDown, so pump your brakes. Ain't nothing about SmackDown. Hold up. We just got introduced to a new Raw member. They ain't say nothing about no trade. Which, if you're following the story arc, Jay said that he was quitting SmackDown, that he was quitting the WWE, and he said deuces. So that in mind, looks like Cody is staying right where he is. So we'll see what happens with that. Think the better direction would have been to bring new challengers to Roman instead of continuing to do the inner turmoil in the bloodline. They needed to give it a break after Tribal Combat. Let Uso break up happen more gradually than just abruptly. Agreed 100%. Yeah, it really felt like they rushed the gun right there with that whole thing. I'm most curious to see, because you can almost make an argument that other than building up Jimmy and Jey Uso, who else have they built up in the process? And that is where the list is just that. Again, besides Jimmy and Jay, who else have they really built up? Not built up. When I say that, I don't want you guys to say, oh, as far as world champion material. No. Just who have they built up and really established where you go, they're definitely going to be a future Impact player on the roster in the, right? Sami Zayn for sure. But look what they ultimately did with Sami. They sent Sami over to Raw. Now, see, good question. Where was Sami and Kevin? What show were they drafted to initially? Because now I can't help but wonder, and this is where you guys got to think. Past history has shown us that if a Raw or a SmackDown champion had won a belt from the opposite promotion, then they obviously could bounce around on all the shows. But upon losing the championship, whatever show they were drafted to, they're pretty much stuck there, and that's it. So I can't help but wonder in regards to Kevin and Sami, you know, like what happens to them now. I'm actually going to do the research and look up the last draft that went down. And we'll be back on Monday, so I'll easily be able to get you guys caught up to speed on that one, because I can't remember right now, and I don't blame any of you guys that can't remember right now. But, okay, so they built up Sami, they built up Jimmy, they built up Jay, but they really have not done anything else outside of that. And that's unfortunate. I mean, really stop and think about that. We're talking 3+ years of the bloodline. And you only have, don't tell me Cody. Cody came in already with a nice, pretty little ribbon. Cody is like the perfect video game. In a day and age where nowadays most video games that are put out there, it needs patches, it needs a whole bunch of DLCs and all this. Cody is just the perfect video game. You ain't got to worry about no patches. It's just, it's great. Just put it in your console or your PC, play the damn thing, you're happy, right? So Cody's good. Outside of those guys, for 3 years, that's not a good ratio. That's my whole point. So I'm looking at certain guys right now, Karrion Kross. I don't care what anybody says. The stuff that Karrion Kross puts out online with the stuff that he does, because he is a phenomenal video editor and all that. I love watching all the stuff that he puts out with Scarlett and all that. It's great stuff. Why that is not being transplanted to his whole stuff on SmackDown, I have the slightest freaking clue. But I need to see that Karrion Kross that's floating around online. I need to see that more with the guy that I'm seeing on SmackDown. I still feel that AJ Styles has at least 2 world title runs in him. I am currently not really a fan of his placement on the roster. He's another one that could definitely benefit from, you know, being built back up again, build that stock back up again with AJ Styles. So to the point about new opponents and all of that, hell, even LA Knight, just going back to him for a second, even LA Knight, he continues to chip away at it. even he is somebody that eventually could, but this needs to be about. Now, Bobby Lashley with Street Profits, they're on to something right there. They are definitely on to something right there. Omos, they definitely got to do more with Omos. So it's not like they don't have the names there. That's the whole point that I'm mentioning to you guys. It's not like they don't have the talent. They just got to find the time to actually invest in these respected people, and then pretty much go from there. Let's talk about the Raw Women's Championship match now. It was Rhea Ripley defending the championship against Raquel Gonzalez. I'm having a weird internet bug here. Give me a second. Okay, so the stream is good. It's just that my Chrome is acting a little funny here. I don't know why, but it is. It's all good. Rhea Ripley retaining her Women's Championship, 17 minutes, 20 seconds. This was another match, much like with the LA Knight taking on Miz. I felt that Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez, or Rodriguez, I felt this went a little bit too long as well. This should have been trimmed, I would say, by about 4, possibly 5 minutes at most. I appreciate the fact that the way they had this match laid out, though, this was pretty much too Amazonian. It's funny I'm saying Amazonian because I saw a little bit of Wonder Woman last night after Rampage went off the air and everything. By the way, did anybody ever notice that watched the first Wonder Woman? I'm not making fun of the kid, but did anybody notice how the little actress that played Wonder Woman as a little kid, anybody notice how big that head was? I mean, it ain't as big as JD. I'm just saying. Look, I can poke fun at myself too. I know I got a big head. I got a big nose and all that. So look, if you can't make fun of yourself, right? God, there's no help for you whatsoever, man. But no, she had like a big head. Go back and check that out. Even with the hair, a big old head. Not as big as JD though. I like this. I mean, 2 Amazonian, very strong women. Just beating the living crap out of each other and everything. Here's the thing that kind of really bothered me about this match, though. Yeah, the height was there, and they were just slugging it out. I love the psychology that was broke down in this and everything. But Rhea Ripley looks the part. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let me tell you straight up. Rhea Ripley looked like if you was walking down the street. I don't care if you saw this woman wearing a flowered dress. Your ass is going, I don't want no part of that. You see them shoulders? You see how wide them shoulders are? You see them guns? I don't want no part of that. Okay? And you look at Raquel Rodriguez, and I mean, I'll give her a lot of credit. It seemed like for the longest time, she stopped doing the weightlifting and all that other stuff. I don't know, maybe she was under the weather, dealing with some type of stress, whatever was going on, but now it seems like she's trying to slowly but surely put back on the bulk again and everything, but I mean, as you were looking at this matchup, you're going, okay, yeah, Rodriguez definitely matches Ripley on the height. I mean, but just the sheer size. Rhea Ripley looked like she could rip a mofo in shreds, okay? So, kind of keeping that in mind, I'm looking at this, and it wasn't a bad match, but I think if this would have been a case where, especially if you wanted to really show off just how menacing, dominating, and sadistic Rhea Ripley can be, I think it really would have been beneficial to her greatly that you trim the hell out of this match. You're going to go out there and put on almost 18-minute match? No, trim that bad boy to a 9-10 minutes max of a match. And that would have been... And here's the thing. I feel, and I don't know how you all feel about this, but I'm going to stick to my guns on this one until y'all can convince me otherwise. From what I've seen of her in NXT, Raquel Rodriguez is most strongest in bite sizes. That goes for promos. And look, with the promos, I don't know what it is, but when she's talking her promos in fluent English, I mean, that articulation, it is so crisp. It is just very on point. It's too on point. It's too on point. Even when she says, I'm going to kick your ass, you know, even that sounds extremely proper, the way that she puts it out there. But man, when she starts cursing a mofo out in her native language, oh, that adds a whole new layer to it. I love that. Me gusta, por favor, mi amor, me gusta, okay? Amor, you know, I love it. I love it. But she's good in bite sizes. So not just in promos, but she's also good in bite sizes when it comes to her match. I've watched her long enough to feel that the longer a Raquel Rodriguez match goes, the higher the chances that the crowd may fall out from it, right? Attention span, all that good stuff. So, you know, Rhea, she was fine. You know, everything that she did, you know, she was fine. Raquel selling the ass whooping that was coming to her, especially when Rhea was focusing on certain limbs throughout the match and everything. You know, I remember at one point she was focusing on the knees, chop blocking, whole 9 yards. All of that was good, but it was just way too much. Less is better. If you're a fan of Raquel Rodriguez, less is better. Try to mask where she's not really, you know. The other thing that Raquel Rodriguez, I would say, needs to work on a little bit more that could also save her, you know, in matches that go a little bit long. Try to get the crowd more into it. Right, I to the point, I think that definitely would have helped Raquel as well. You know, if we would have seen Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley, she doesn't do this enough, but it's something I would suggest she starts working on as well. When she's beating the living hell out of her opponents the way that she's doing, I just need to see mommy to acknowledge the crowd. This is your challenger, huh? You like her, huh? I need to see her. I know she doesn't talk like that, but work with me. I need to see her evoke more of an emotion. Get the fans riled up. That way they can try to get a little bit more behind the person's whose ass she's kicking and everything. I need to see them do a lot more of that. I need to see Raquel, you know, when she's starting to build up some type of momentum, she's getting a string of offense together. I need to see her acknowledge that crowd. Come on, you know. I need to see her, you know, do all of that. Don't just go out there, do the damn moves. And I mean, facial expressions. Raquel's doing all of that right. Both girls, they're doing everything. But try to get the crowd more into the stuff that you're doing. That would definitely be the message that I would give. Zelina Vega, yeah, that was good. That was definitely a good example. I actually saw that match. DJ. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. Ripley hasn't had a serious competitor since her Mania match. Yeah, they have pretty much just been doing coins in the slot for her as of late. You know, just looking at the current landscape of things, you know, with that women's division, and I mean, look, Rhea has been on a roll and everything. I will definitely give her that. She has been on a roll. This is another case right here, much like with the Roman Reigns and the Bloodline stuff. This is another case right here where I think ultimately you may have to have Rhea Ripley start testing the waters over there on NXT. Start having her rub elbows with some of the girls over there, because at the rate Rhea Ripley is on right now, she is going to run out of opponents real freaking quick. And we essentially have not even really built up. That's why I'm hoping that same time next year, like as far as WrestleMania right around the corner, I need to see them do what they were trying to tease initially, which was they had Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, and you were like, oh, yo. And the way they were circling around each other last year, and then almost going up to this past year's WrestleMania, I need to see them go back. That trust me, when they do go back to that, that's going to be one really good program, especially if they stretch it out for a couple of months. That's going to be one really, really good program. Raquel Rodriguez is coming along, but she's got a long way to go. Shotzi's coming along for sure. Shotzi's coming along. I'm trying to think of who else I've had my eye on where I go, you know what, we could actually... they pumped the brakes with her. I know she's doing her thing with Chelsea Green right now, but Piper Niven is someone I would say don't sleep on. You know, that's one, if you do her just right and she can stay healthy and everything, because I know she has some... there's something health-wise that's going on with her from time to time. I don't know if it's a flare-up or what, Crohn's disease. It's something she has that pops up from time to time. As long as she can keep that under control as best as she can with medication, nutrition, and all that, you know, she's one that maybe they could ultimately try to build up as well. But they got options. They do have options. They just got to build them up properly. That's all. One more match to talk about. John Cena popped up in a pink bow and a blue blazer doing his best. I felt it was a RJ City impression to a certain degree, meets that weird, wacky WWE side promotional stuff, Southern Region, whatever that thing was they were doing during the pandemic. I thought that stuff was hilarious. He was chatting it up with the Judgment Day there, and Judgment Day celebrating, loving the fact that they are as strong as ever, right? Celebrating the fact that they all got the job done. But you're looking at Damian Priest and you're going, Damian's got that briefcase still. So are we going to go for the clean sweep? Are we going to see Damian cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase? What's up? Main event match, Raw World Championship, or as many of you like to dub the championship as, the guy that's in second place. I get it. So we get a recap of Rollins, Nakamura, and then we get this really cool, kick-ass manga. And I'm not talking about Make America. No, I'm talking about Japanese manga animation here. We get this really cool-ass animation video package that is in the style of, you know, Japanese, you know, animation, and you get this nice little storyboard that is showing Nakamura and how he's getting ready to break the back of Seth Rollins and everything, and mentioning the family. And I mean, it was some of the most coolest kick-ass video intro packages I've seen in quite some time. It was actually absolutely one of the best. Loved it on so many levels. Whoever has been in charge of presenting Nakamura in this new light, I love it. We should have been doing this with him a long time ago, but it's all good. I loved it though. It was all in Japanese, got the animation. He's talking in his native language and everything, talking about how he'll soon remove the burden of the championship from Rollins, you know, focusing in on that back. And then if that doesn't quite convince you that maybe tonight is going to be Nakamura's night, they had Seth Rollins come out first, who on a rare occasion, this guy came out and he looked like a man. You know, the way he came out as a champion. We've seen him in some very, very extravagant attire. Let's put it that way, okay? But this night, he looked like a man coming out there, right? Love you, Seth. I love you, dude. You know I love you. I got nothing but love for you, man. But your attire was definitely flat tonight. I got to give it to you. There's sometimes I'll give Seth his props. There's sometimes when he comes out, I look at his attire and I go, only Seth Rollins can pull that off. I know my black ass can't pull that off. I know some of you guys can't pull that off, right? But tonight, oh, he was on point. But you had him come out first, the champion. Then you get Nakamura coming out. You're going, Then you get the Great Muta. Great Muta sitting at ringside. You're going, oh, what is going to happen right here? Is Muta potentially going to get involved? Is it possible he may spray his trademark miss into the face of Seth Rollins? Is it possible that we could get a new champion tonight? I'm just all in my feelings and everything. I'm so confident. I'm going, somebody bet me. Come on, $10. What do you say? Any takers? I would have lost a lot of money tonight. I'm glad that nobody took me up on that bet. Seth Rollins retaining his Raw World title. I was so heartbroken. 26 minutes, 5 seconds. For relaxing times, I thought it was going to be Nakamura time. No. And for you guys, before you even say, Great Muta, the same guy that said in a post-conference in New Japan Pro Wrestling that Nakamura is a... right, rhymes with rabbit. Yeah, that Great Muta that said that. Shout out if you know what I'm talking about. I love this whole match. I love the whole psychology breakdown of this. Nakamura, predominantly of this match, honing in on that back. Great back and forth. I didn't have an issue with the length of this match, by the way. I had no problem with the length of this match. I thought these two put out there a damn good banger, particularly for Nakamura. I felt that Nakamura was in rare Nakamura form. This felt like, I'm going to say it, for the first time since he appeared in NXT, I felt like I was watching a New Japan Pro Wrestling version, a slight updated version of Nakamura. This felt like a New Japan Nakamura. I mean, there's a big difference between the NXT Nakamura, the main roster Nakamura, and then, okay, we're getting a slightly age-advanced New Japan Nakamura. That latter is what I felt I was watching here tonight, especially with just the overall packages that they've been doing with him within recent weeks. Nakamura did a fantastic job right here. I know for some people they felt, I mean, that's great what they've been doing with him, but this really did not feel like it was going to be Nakamura's moment. This just felt like he was the flavor of the month for all intents and purposes. I just can't help but wonder, because I still feel in my heart of hearts that the 44-year-old Nakamura, I still feel in my hearts that, I have just one heart now. I don't have two hearts, but you all know what I'm trying to say. I feel as though Nakamura has at least 2 World Heavyweight Championship runs in him. So if you were to tell me, hey, Nakamura has decided he's not going to re-sign with the WWE in 5 years, then I would say to you, well, hopefully he'll at least be a champion, if not once, twice within those 5 years. And it just felt to me, and look, cue my favorite song from Steve Perry, Foolish Heart, but forgive me for thinking, this has to be it. They've built Nakamura up. They got him to this point. If you're not going to do it now, when? You've done such a great build-up. You built him up as a legit threat. You know what this run reminds me of? And I still talk about this moment to this very, very day, because it was one of my most favorite moments from WWE history, okay? How many of you guys remember WWE Capital Punishment? Shout out for you guys that live in the DC metropolitan area, because it was right here It was June 19th, 2011. Remember that? Main event match was John Cena going up against R-Truth for the WWE Championship. And what they did with R-Truth during that span of several weeks, spiders, and I mean, they had built up one serious ass nutty heel. And I just felt everything had culminated at that point where, yo, R-Truth is gonna get that championship. And for whatever respected reason, R-Truth did not get the title. That still bothers the out of me to this very day. I would love to see R-Truth do a joint of Inside the Ropes and shed some light as to, you know, what happened there. You know, why, what's his opinion? Because it seemed like the momentum was on his side, and for whatever respected reason, the trigger didn't get pulled. And we've never seen R-Truth get that close to a WWE championship match, let alone a pay-per-view marquee. We've never seen him in that position again in the WWE. And I just can't help but feel that what we had saw with Nakamura tonight, with everything that was built up over the course of the past several weeks, if you've got somebody saying, I know your deepest secret, or as Chris Jericho has been singing, you've seen the video online, I know you got a secret, it's buried down below, I know you got a secret, let it go, okay? You can't help but go, okay, this guy knows something that all the other opponents that Seth Rollins has faced, he's got the magic gold, right? He's been watching the slides. He knows. He knows the weakness. He's going to exploit it. And if there was ever I'm going to put you on the shelf for a little bit, but you can come back in a couple of weeks or whenever we get ready to do the show in India or whatever, and maybe you can get the title back then or whatever. We didn't go in that direction. So now I ask you guys again, if not now, call me foolish, hard, all that. I'll give it to you. Yeah, I was foolish. But again, serious question, if not now, y'all, when, if ever, is Nakamura gonna get a chance at being a WWE champion? Feels like never, which is a damn shame, because that is one talented freaking dude. I hope I'm wrong. I am hoping that I'm wrong. I had people say to me earlier today, they commented on the Wednesday show, looks like you were right about CM Punk. But I told him, I didn't want to be right. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted for stuff to work out for all respected parties involved. What else can I say about this match as we get ready to wrap this up here? I don't have anything else more. I'm give my rating and all that for the pay-per-view overall. I definitely want to read some of you guys' comments for this pay-per-view, though. Definitely. Now, look, I know some wrestling fans that check out all the wrestling pay-per-views, indie stuff and all that. Question is going to be asked, okay, Lee, Payback or All In? That's a tough question. That is a tough question. I would say it depends. That's not a cop-out answer. I would say it depends. If you care greatly about how wrestling fans overseas that normally don't get to check out all the great American wrestling that's available in whatever city on a weekly basis, right? For them, this is a once a year type of deal or whatever now, at least the way that it's looking. I would say from a cultural standpoint, that AEW All In Wembley Stadium, that holds a lot of, and I'm an old school head, especially as far as music and entertainment goes. I remember what went down with Queen and all of that. So, you know, for me, right? And I'm a sucker for a great foreign crowd that normally doesn't get the access to wrestling like we have over here in North America. So that's how I would answer it. I think it would really be kind of unfair to compare the two. I mean, shoot. Just the time length alone wasn't All In like 4 hours or something like that? And we're talking about this WWE Payback pay-per-view that was, 2.5 hours, maybe almost 3 hours. So, I mean, it's not a fair comparison. If you were to ask me just match quality wise, because I would say from All In, match quality wise, I only enjoyed 2 matches really. It would probably be a tie if I'm gonna, it really, really depends. I personally would say low point, high point. First of all, favorite match, least favorite match. Let's go there first. Rollins, Nakamura, most favorite. Least favorite. Least favorite? I honestly could have done without Rey Mysterio and Austin Theory. I can't believe I'm saying that. Appreciate Ray. He can still go and all that, but I really could have done without that one. You thought I was going to say Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. No, I actually would have kept them. And if I was forced to cut one, out of what I saw tonight, my least favorite was Ray and Austin Theory. So there's my least favorite, most favorite. High point, low point. High point, the phenomenal Shinsuke Nakamura Japanese animation video package. That totally kicked ass. And what a great moment too, because you have them do the Seth Rollins sing-along, and then after you do the Nakamura video package, and then you go right into his song, the crowd is singing that as well. So if that wasn't one bipolar crowd, right, you couldn't ask for anything more right there. So definitely a high point for me, that Nakamura video package. Low point for me? Low point. I'm thinking about this one. Low point. What would you guys say was a low point? I don't really think there was a low point here. I'm trying, for the love of me, I'm playing it all back in my head. I'm not picturing a low point. A low point moment, yeah. Yeah, maybe you guys will jog my memory. Maybe there's something, I'll read you all comments. Maybe there's something that I'm not thinking about that, oh yeah, there was that, wasn't it? So, sound off. Let me know. See, I got to get caught up on the comments here. Let's see here. Was that around the time when R-Truth was having a smoke at... Yes, DJ. Hey, it was definitely around that time. Yes, it was around that time. For a Saturday pay-per-view, this was okay. Going into the Labor Day weekend and all that, this was okay. If you unfortunately didn't pay for your Peacock subscription, maybe you don't get paid for a couple of days, you'll be all right. It ain't the end of the world. It's really not. Go out of your way. Once you do get your money to get Peacock reactivated, just go out of your way, watch the Nakamura Rollins match. Definitely watch Trish taking on Becky, Steel Cage. And I would say call it a day. Yeah, I'm just looking at the rest of this card. I would say call it a day. If you're an LA Knight fan, stick around for... You really don't have to, but if you're an LA Knight fan, you want to support the dude and all that, honorable mention I'll give to that, but you can pretty much be done really with the first 2 matches that I talked about. All right, let's see what the rest of you guys are saying in the chat. And I like going to my favorite place for the comments here. Let's go to Cage Match, and let's see what the folks are saying about WWE Payback. Let's see here. Now, before I read their overall rating, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being crap, 10 being awesome sauce, I would give this card overall. Keep in mind, I really homed in on 2 matches, and I gave an honorable mention. I would give this pay-per-view a overall... Whoa. 7. I can't go higher. I'm not going to go any lower. I'm going to go with a 7. 7. I think 7 is definitely fair. Some people may feel I'm being a little bit too low there, but I'm going with a 7. Holy crap. Right now on Cage Match, the current total rating is a 7.62. All right, so we're definitely in the right realm here. Let's see what some of the folks have to say here. I'm looking for the most critical first. I'm going to ignore those that said 10 because I'm already seeing it off the break. I'm looking for my most critical, and right now I see 1 4. I see a couple of 5s. Oh, wow, we're on one page tonight. All right, so let's go with our most critical here. And if you are writing a Bible, I just may skip that. Where's our most critical? Somebody just had a 4. Where's that 4? Show me that 4. There we go. From Slide Dan. Slide Dan. Let me just take a refreshing little... Let me clear my throat. I thought this show was okay. Becky Lynch versus Trish was good. Becky isn't the most athletic woman ever, but she makes it up with psychology. I'll give you that. LA Knight versus The Miz was also an okay match. Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory was nothing special. I got no problem with what he's saying so far. Not that I'm looking for a problem. Austin Theory kind of bores me. He definitely needs a character change. I gotta pause. Yeah, what is going on there with Austin Theory? Is he being punished? Is this growing pains for him? Something is just not clicking. You know, I mean, he's got the look. He's great in the ring. But the personality, it's bland as, you know, something is seriously lacking right there. And the fact that we've got, 40-plus-year-old LA Knight that is just, I'm sure that is making interesting conversation in the back with the booking heads and all that. I'm sure that's making very interesting talk. Judgment Day defeated Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which surprised me. I'll always be a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fan, so I was disappointed. The actual match itself was great. Rhea Ripley defeated Raquel Rodriguez in an okay match. It was too long for what it was. Finally, Seth Rollins defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. The match was okay, but the finish was weak. Yes, I can't let that freaking joint go without mention. Yeah, that was one lame-ass finish. With all the stuff that Nakamura was doing to the back, you would have thought for sure that, you know, I mean, Rollins did a good job selling all the back and everything, but you just was thinking to yourself, okay, even if he's able to pull off a curb stomper and or a pedigree, that back, nah, man, that's not really gonna. And the fact that we had a 3 count and Nakamura just barely kicked, I thought for sure the match was gonna continue. I know a lot of you all thought that match was gonna continue as well, but I mean, that was some straight up BS. We see Rollins in the final moments, he connects with the pedigree that pretty much had got him a 2 count, and then like from out of nowhere there was the curb stomp, and that pretty much had finished Nakamura. I'm looking at that going, like that? I thought that was such a weak freaking... Now look, I appreciate the fact that it wasn't a fruit roll-up. I appreciate that. but you were just expecting a little bit more. Like, even if you felt very confident that, Nakamura ain't going to get this, you just felt like, hey, as competitive as it is, this feels like it's going to, right? Maybe we'll see somebody pass out by submission, or, maybe we're going to see something weird go down here. And the fact that Damian Priest did not come out immediately afterwards, where the hell was Damian Priest? Was Judgment Day out celebrating or some crap? Like, what was going on with Judgment Day? Where was Damian Priest? If there was ever a time to come on out, cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase, Nakamura did most of the dirty work. All you gotta do now is just go out there and collect. Weird finish, weird wrap up for the show and all that. That was very, very weird. What else did Sly Dan have to say here? That pretty much was it. So overall, he gave it a 4. I see a couple of 5s in here. Let's go with AJ. There were highs and lows in this event. Judgment Day winning the tag titles in the match of the year. Really? Match of the year? I don't know about all that, dog. Becky versus Trish was a great one. Ripley versus Raquel and Rollins versus Nakamura were the main complaints of this event. While I do understand Rollins wasn't dropping the title, but the presentation of the matches wasn't good enough for somehow he gathered strength to win the match despite being injured, and match felt really short considering it went for 26 minutes. With Shinsuke's eyes being opened, I expected a kick out, but the match ended and it was a meh match. And again, AJ had gave it a 5 out of 10. Let's go for one more 5 out of 10 here. Jose of Locke. Kind of what I was expecting with a few surprises. The cage match was legitimately good. Becky's best performance in forever. She did rise to the occasion. I'll definitely give her that. Trish looked good too. Trish did look good. Miz night was too long, with Cena being an awful ref with a hot crowd. The U.S. title match was nothing. The crowd was dead. Go out of your way to see the street fight. Best match here by a long shot. It was entertaining. It was okay. The last 2 matches definitely disappointed. Rhea Raquel was bad, and Knock Rollins was slow and plodding, both with an almost dead crowd. Jey Uso is now on Raw, I guess. All right, let's go for some higher numbers here. Let's go for an 8. Let's see what Curtis... No, Curtis just said 8. That's it. Curtis just said 8. But let's go with another 8. See if we can find another 8. Oh, that's too lengthy for me. All right, this one's good. Robbie. Was a refreshing event to watch. Not seeing the bloodline and just good wrestling was nice. It was a nice change of pace, wasn't it? First, okay, no bloodline. It was a nice change of pace. Match of the night had to be the tag team match. It was insane. The Judgment Day being tag team champions is fine, but I hope DIY is the one who beats them for the belts in the future. You know what? I would love to see DIY reform. I mean, they're all on Raw, aren't they? They're all together with one big happy family. Yeah. You know what? There you go. Especially if you want to build up some new folks that's arrived on the roster. There you go right there. I love that idea. Becky and Trish had a great match and was very shocked. LA Knight being endorsed by John Cena was great. His push has been awesome, and the main event was solid. Nakamura attacking Rollins after the match was good, even though they didn't air it. Okay, so apparently, that's breaking news. So Nakamura attacked post-match. Okay, so did Damian Priest do something? After it went off the air? Let's just make sure. That's kind of one of those going to WWE. Nothing else had happened. Okay, because I'm on WWE site right now. So yeah, nothing else had happened. So we're good. All right. So that's it for Robbie. Appreciate that. What else here? Anybody that says 10, I'm not even bothering, because there's always room for some type of improvement. I'm not even gonna read these 10s. Forget about it. Let's see here. I'll go with a 9 though. Wrestling is Real Life says 9 out of 10. The show was great and gave me the feeling of a classic and traditional event. It has been a long time since we have seen such a classic event in WWE or in wrestling as a whole, and I think wrestling desperately needs this diversity, and everything went well. From the quality of the competition to the violence of the competition to the entertainment needed by the people. In my opinion, this event went to the list of the best events of the year, and I give it 9 points. I was also very happy with Finn Balor's championship and his Grand Slam, and he is my favorite wrestler. All in all, the event was great. I'll read 2 more, and I'll give some closing thoughts that you definitely want to stick around for, because it kind of echoes a little something from what I just read there. Paul, 7 out of 10. This is easily the first true B-level premium live event that WWE has had since Triple H took over. Every PLE since he became the booker has had something: a debut, a return, a big stipulation match, or a big angle at the end of the show. This time it was just a good B-level show with an amazing street fight, a steel cage match that over-delivered. The rest of the show was fine. A disappointing women's title match, a match that was, as expected, fine in LA Knight and The Miz, and a fine match with Theory and Ray. The main event was solid, but not on the same level of this year's main events. And one more will go out on a really good note here. Good, that is a lengthy one right there. I don't know if I really want to. Emmanuel, 5 out of 10. Make no mistake, there were great matches in this premium live event, and Cena did a good job as host, but something was missing. This whole thing of making the event revolve around Judgment Day is a big mistake, in my opinion. They don't have and don't really show danger to others. Everything is so predictable when it comes to Judgment Day. WWE is seriously trying to make them have the same value that Bloodline had. But that just doesn't happen. I'm surprised he's picking that vibe up, because is he alone on that one, or are you all feeling that way as well? I don't feel like WWE is trying to have Bloodline and Judgment. No, not even at all is the vibe that I'm picking up. Obviously, with the Bloodline, it's all about family. It's all about putting one guy over, doing everything to make sure one guy continues to thrive time and time again, because when he thrives, that's how everybody else is able to eat. That's how everybody else is able to provide for their families. Can this guy be problematic? Yes. Can this guy be egotistical? Yes. But he is the head of the table. Everybody's got to fall in suit. Those that have tried to challenge him, it's almost like I'm thinking about Klingons, Star Trek and all that. You dare challenge? Yeah. And it doesn't bode well for those who try to challenge Roman Reigns. Whereas Judgment Day, it's, let's not forget how Judgment Day was initially brought together and everything. Edge, and he's looking at the stars of tomorrow and saw a lot of good in these people, and everything just pretty much blossomed from there and everything. And total different dynamics. Although I know some people would love to see Judgment Day and Bloodline lock it up eventually. I know that's been like a fantasy booking thing for some people. So very surprised. Interesting take though. I'm not knocking the take. It's a very interesting take, one that I did not ever think of. So I find that interesting. Let's see. Doesn't happen. So I read that already. Good. Anyway, what an epic moment we had between LA Knight and John Cena. My final point for this whole note is that the PLE, that's Premium Live Event, was very obvious that it was a secondary and filler Premium Live Event. You know, I would say that, but I would also counter it with this. This felt like the first Premium Live Event where it was, okay, look, there's a lot of new stars that are, you know, currently on the rise. There are stars that are, currently, there's some people we think you should have your eyes on because we feel that they're definitely going to be going places. So you definitely want to keep your eyes peeled, on these people. Say what you will about Austin Theory, but he is still one where once this kid, you see the promise is definitely there. He just needs to string it all together. And when he finally connects it all, right now, I wish I had it in here, but right now, Austin Theory is like a Rubik's Cube, right? Everybody's played with a Rubik's Cube. You know how it goes. I don't need to explain it. Once he's able to get that synchronization together, once he's able to match it all up, he is going to be polarizing. He is definitely going to be polarizing. If he still has, I would be shocked if that kid has not strung it all together. He's 26 right now. If he has not strung it all together, figured it out within the next 3 years, I don't know what to tell you guys. But you're looking at him, you're going, Zoe Stark, who they have been invested in very, very early on since they announced her for the draft and everything. They have let it be known as far as high hopes go and everything, and don't let her looks fool you. I know her looks may have some people think she's a bit older. Maybe she's somebody that's in her 30s or early 40s. No, she's actually in her 20s, believe it or not. I see her definitely. She's having some really, really great matches. She's good. She is very good. Happy to say I saw just a little bit of her stuff before she signed with WWE. So I feel confident in saying, yeah, that's definitely one you need to continue to have your eyes on. Dirty Dom continuing to break new ground every single week. Of all the 180s in this crazy world of wrestling, he is the one that has by far and large, he's just leading the pack as far as fresh faces goes, and he is playing that antagonist you want to see get his ass handed to him. He is playing that well. He is playing that very well. Rhea's continuing to tear it up, and she's still pretty young at it. Damian Priest still finding his groove. Matter of time before he cashes in that briefcase. This was a good card for the fresher faces, while at the same time, you had some of your old school favorites there in Nakamura and Rollins, and then to have John Cena given that rub, as some of you all mentioned in the comments I read there, to have Cena give that rub to LA Knight and everything. This had just about the perfect blend of new and old per se, all rolled in one, but heavy emphasis on the new wave that's going on of the talent and everything. If I were to look at this and say there's probably only one thing kind of missing right here, I wish that we could have gotten to see Chelsea Green and Piper Niven defend the women's tag titles. I'm sure right now they're still kind of scrambling, not really sure what to do with that. Hey, whatever. It is what it is with that. But still, all things considered, that's how I'm looking at this card. That's definitely how I'm looking at this card. So, good comments from you guys. Definitely some good. Nice to see that we're all on the same page with that. Let's see here. DJ, he needs something new. He's just too generic. There's plenty of guys that have his kind of look and can talk. he needs to do more with his character to stand out. He's becoming old news. Yeah, definitely. But Roman's empire has been weakened and he's been pinned, so you could make the argument that Judgment Day smell blood in the water and can attack to take their place for dominance. I would definitely, I would buy that. And if in the process you're able to flip the bloodline, get Roman Reigns to go the heel route as a result, if that's how Roman essentially gets humbled, right? First, he gets taken out, ultimately by Cody, and then Judgment Day comes in and they pretty much take his ass out and everything, right? He's gone for several months. Then when he does resurface, Bloodline is back, right? Everything is good with the Bloodline family. They're reunited, Quote one of my favorite Queen songs, one man, one goal, just one vision, right? Yeah, right circumstances, I can definitely see that going down, because eventually you gotta flip Roman. I mean, I love heel Roman Reigns. I could watch and eat that up all day, but eventually, we're gonna have to flip it. But the only way you're gonna be able to flip it is if you got another main antagonist waiting in the wings that's pretty much gonna be able to pick up while Roman is gone, right? And then it becomes a question of who's going to be that person to fill in the gap. I'll let you guys talk about that one amongst yourselves. But don't have any final thoughts on WWE Payback. So, on that note, programming note, I'll be back with you guys Monday night, September 4th. 2023. Yeah, it's gonna be the Labor Day edition and all that. We'll keep it nice, short, and sweet. I think we'll just come on for a fast hour. We'll talk Raw. Maybe we'll talk a little bit of headlines. I'll definitely talk a little bit more about the whole CM Punk firing. I definitely want to talk about Tony Khan and that crap that he said in front of the Chicago crowd before Collision. Just when I try to give this man his props, I try to commend him, he does the most weirdest, silliest thing, and I'm just grabbing my head going, dude, you could have just stayed behind the statement and that would have been it, but you just had to get in front of this. You had to put your face in front of this, and now look at the backlash you're getting, and you rightfully deserve it. Rightfully deserve it. Lord have mercy. Anyway, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts, especially just search the RCWR Show. Once again, if you had enjoyed this, hit that like, supercharges the content, helps put more eyeballs on the content, gets it out there to a more wider audience. Hit me up on X, Twitter, and on Facebook at the RCWR Show. For those of you that tuned in live, I appreciate you all. For those of you that will be checking this out for on demand and on the downloads, you already know. Appreciate you all as well. Be safe. Be kind to one another. Happy Labor Day weekend. Till I see you guys for Labor Day Monday night after Raw. Peace, y'all.